Hello fellow YouTubers. Okay, so I haven't seen any 2018 Honda Odyssey on YouTube. So I'm just gonna do a quick video here. I'm actually a little bit over halfway of installing the timing belt. Um, just to give you an idea, the timing belt replacement for this engine, it's a 3.5 by the way. The kit I bought, the part number for the timing belt kit is a forgive me for the mess, TH-002, I believe. I can get the well, unfortunately I tore off the part number, but it matches with the 2009 Acura TL that I worked on years ago. Obviously they use this same timing design with the 09 Acura TL. It's a V6, 3.5 I believe, if I remember right. Anyways, the timing belt kit is the same number, THK-002, if I remember right. Anyways, torque specs is pretty much the same now with this kit. I've used this before, like I mentioned. They give you a little instruction booklet. It comes with all the torque specs, 2 pulleys. Here's the timing belt tensioner. Of course, timing belt tensioner pulley. It comes with, well, the kit comes with this. Now there's a little sleeve. So the orientation for this is, if I remember right here. So the orientation is going to sit somewhat like so on the engine. The timing belt tensioner, of course, the plunger sits right there. I think I have the timing belt tensioner right here. So basically that little plunger rests on this right here. Like I said, I took it apart halfway, and now I just finished putting the new belt on there. If you can find an 09 Acura TL timing belt replacement, look at the YouTube videos. It should be the same as this 2018 Odyssey V6. Nothing different. Just want to give you some tips. What I did since I took it out. There's some hiccups, speed bumps. Now on the TL that I mentioned, the AC line, I don't believe it was in the way, but at least this is high enough to where you can reach your arm underneath, remove the belt. But the TL didn't have the bundle of harness here that goes to the ECM. Now the ECM, they place it right here. Now for the TL, it's on the other side of the engine. It's a little bit more wide open than this van here I'm working on. That's what kind of slows me down a little bit, is because I have to work around the harness. But anyways, a lot of YouTube videos out there to tell you how to crank it to top dead center. For me, since the belt didn't have any markings on there, I think there was a Toyota that I worked on. It had markings on the timing belt itself, so you can actually line it up with the markings on the sprocket here. Of course, this is number 1. There should be a number 1 stated somewhere on there. But what I did, I marked it with a silver Sharpie. and I marked it on the sprocket itself, and then I kind of followed through to the old belt. Same thing on both sprockets, and also I have to create a marking because top dead center, the crankshaft doesn't have any markings on there. Well, it does, but it points up anyways, if you can see there. Now the only way to know if it's top dead center is to put that cover, this cover, back on, because the top dead center marking is right here, and also on the pulley, the crank pulley. Now in the instruction manual, it actually specify which marking you have to use, which is the white one here, the one on the left. So this is how it goes in. And that white marking has to line up with that arrow on the cover right here. That's the reason why I put the cover back in. Looking from the top, that's the only way you can kind of get it to line up and have everything lined with the cam sprocket, yada yada. Oh, so since when you took the crank pulley out, there's no marking. So what I did, if you can see right here, I put a silver marker on that tooth and also on the belt itself, on the old belt. Once you do that, make another marking. So let me show you on the old belt. So what I did, I put a mark on here. Now since I only do it halfway through the belt, that will tell me that this belt is facing forward on this side, and of course that faces towards the back of it. So when I got the new belt, I marked up all the markings that I made on this old belt to I transfer those markings to the new belt. There's an old saying, measure 10 times and cut once. Well, double check 10 times, so to speak, and make sure that the markings are correct, tooth by tooth. So what I did, I kind of grab it side by side with this, and I just go along the belt and mark the new one. What I did on the crankshaft, here's the thing: when you mark it just for one line, when you put it back on, when you put the new belt in, you won't know which one goes to the crank and which one goes to the cam. So what I did, I marked this mark right here with a crosshatch right there, like a T, to know that this is a crankshaft position, crankshaft marking. That way, when I set that, these markings should line up with the sprocket on top. So this should be on the right. Of course, you see on the bottom that was crank. And then I run my belt to the top to make this line up with the front cam, or the one in the front of the car. And then this is the camshaft sprocket. Where is it? Yep. So this one would go to the marking to the camshaft against the firewall. If you don't do that, you're going to get yourself confused, because these markings, if you do it just plain old one stripe, you're going to be having 3 markings, and you won't remember which one goes to the crank and which one goes to the cam. That's the reason why I made a T, to make sure that that one goes to the crank itself. The cover. Well, I put the cover back in for the bottom, but there's 3 covers altogether. Let's see here. Now, this one has a wiring harness that goes against this cover. That's actually for the oil pressure sensor. And of course, this cover goes to the front of the car. And of course, actually, I need to take this out because I have to put the engine mount back in. Well, at least a piece of the engine mount has to go on the engine first before I put the cover. And all these bolts for the cover are the same size, and it uses a 10mm socket. You see there? It's a whole bunch. But just to give you an idea, these covers goes like so. So obviously the bottom one goes in first. And you can see here, there's a little groove in between each the top covers where you slide it into the bottom cover. Like so. So just to give you an idea of how it looks like. Now there's an engine mount. This is what I have to put in first. That's the reason why I have to take this cover off. Plenty of bolts, of course. Even it says the right cam. I believe this should say LCA on here, maybe. Well, maybe not. But you won't go wrong with this because it only goes in one way. All right, just to give you an idea. There's plenty of bolts that has to be bolted on. One here, one here. I believe there's one here, but I gotta make sure. If it is, it's gonna be bolted onto the one of the engine mount pieces right here. Of course, let me see. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure. I think this is open. I don't think there's a bolt that goes through it. It kind of sits by itself out there, if I remember right. So 3, 4, 5, 5 here. Same here. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the middle. And of course, the bottom cover has 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 bolts on the bottom cover. All right. Okay, just want to give you an idea how it looks like from that view. Okay, and that's how it goes. Now this is actually a motor mount. It's a 2-piece motor mount. That piece, voila. Oh, one more thing, since I need to put the drive belt tensioner again. And also here's part of the motor mount also. So these two go together. Of course, this one goes in first. As you can see here, of course, this bottom cover goes outside of that cover. This is the reason why I have to put this first. Yep, so definitely this hole is going to be mounted onto this. Just be careful. There's some gaskets. There's some gaskets right here that might come loose. Technically, you would have to you would change this out, but I forgot all about it, and it's a family car. It'll save you some trouble from this coming loose on you, but I think it'll be all right. It's a gasket just to keep the covers off, but that's how it would look like. Now, part of this motor mount, it's more like a little cover actually, but the other piece I just showed you, it goes on top like so. And I will show you because I'm gonna have to put this in first anyway. And this pretty much go over to go right in front of the water pump. The kit comes with a water pump, by the way. Comes with a water pump, timing belt tensioner pulley. It comes with the whole thing there. And also another idle pulley. Comes with an idle pulley also. So just to give you how it looks like. which I showed you. That's part of the tensioner. This is the idle pulley. Now you can only go one way because this bore on this end is a lot smaller than this end. So the bolt has a flange to it that goes through here, and it holds that in. It's only one way. I'm not going to go into a lot of details because it was a big job for a do-yourselfer. Just look up, if you can't find any 2018 Odyssey timing belt replacement, look for a 2009 TL. I know that will apply to this also. Actually, this kit has a lot of car models in here. Just gonna hold that for a second just to give you an idea. Oh, let me hold it this way, see if I can get it to straighten out. All right, there you go. I can see MDX, Pilot, RDX, Ridgeline, yada yada. But like I said, this kit also fits, also applies to the 09 TL. The torque specs probably will be a little different from that older model than this, but not to worry. You have all the installation instructions on here. Tells you which torque specs. Now the water pump, I believe there's no torque specs for the water pump, but it is a 10 mil bolt, and I torqued it down to 8 pounds, 8 foot-pounds. And it's pretty much the same. Honda is very good at reusing the specs, recycling the specs from one engine to another. 10 mils are very common, 14, whatnot. But anyways, oh, here's the kit number, TKH-002. And that's the kit I bought for this engine. But like I said, this kit also applies to a 2009 Acura TL. If you look at on some kits out there, it will tell you, it'll point you in the right direction. All right, and let me see what else. The covers. Now, I think I took out the drive belt tensioner a while ago. Just to give you a heads up, the drive belt tensioner will sit outside somewhere around this area. Make sure you get one of the bolts out. Well, actually, if you're taking a belt tensioner out, it wouldn't matter at all, because once you release the tensioner, take the belt out, it's going to cover one of the bolts, so you're going to have to remove that anyway. Okay. All right. Just to give you an idea of the tensioner, this is the bolt you have to take out. This is the 14. This is probably going to be the last thing I need to take to install. And also a 10 mil bolt, as you can see here. It's a 10 mil bolt. It's gonna be hidden, so you're gonna have to feel for it. All right, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna be 8 pounds also, but I need to find out. Looking in manual, like I said, there's not a lot of info out there for a 2018 Honda, but they use the same engine model for a lot of cars nowadays. A little different design, but the bolt size should be the same. All right. What else? What else? Okay. Oh, well, I changed it while I was in here. Now, a lot of YouTube videos will tell you not to change the seal behind the cam sprockets. There's a seal. If you don't know what you're doing, and if it's not leaking, leave it alone. Because for one, these seals, you need a special tool. I have a special tool somewhere. It's a little bit more difficult to to put it back in, actually, to put the new seal in. One thing to say, I just don't recommend changing it if it's not leaking. Now, if it's leaking, then yeah, you have no choice to change it, but you need some special tools. For example, excuse the mess. This is a seal tool here. Now there's a long and short hook remover. So basically you kind of wedge into the seal. It's pretty tight between the camshaft and the seal itself, so you can see the tear there. But what I did, I had to dig in. Once I dig in far enough, I just kind of straighten it up, and then of course I have both on one side, one on either side of the camshaft, and then I use this to basically screw it out. So it kind of wedges in once you dig into the seal, like so. Keep it straight, and this goes in like that. So basically you screw this against the shaft itself to pull the seal. That was easy for the cams. Now for the crank, unfortunately, it has a lip. If I remember right, the Acura TL didn't have this raised lip around this area. I had a problem. Well, the seal is behind this crankshaft pulley, crankshaft sprocket. I had a hard time getting the hook behind the seal because of this lip. I was able to get one in from this open area right here. I hooked it in, and I only wedged one in and used a pry bar to pry against that one hook. Basically, I use a leverage. I use the pry bar to use leverage to pop the seal with one hook instead of two. Two would be better, less stress, but it works that way also. But that's about it. Plenty of YouTube videos out there how to set the belt in again. I'm not going to go any further because this is a long video if I go step by step with this. But nothing different than the 09. Probably has minor changes to it. Well, yeah, of course, major changes because there's a lip right here, but the timing belt kit is the same. Of course, they give torque specs on the instruction manual, so you don't have to worry about that. 8 pounds on a water pump. I had to buy that separately because, of course, the water pump doesn't come with. Well, I take that back. Maybe it does come with the kit. I don't remember. Anyways, if the kit doesn't come with a water pump, I recommend changing the water pump also. Water pump, camshaft. This is the front of the car. That's the rear, camshaft, torque specs, everything there. Now, if you're changing the seal, there wouldn't be any torque specs for that in the instruction manual because the manual only tells you how to change the belt, but not changing the seal. That's a separate deal. But anyways, I looked up on the 09 Acura. The boat was torqued down to 68 foot-pounds for 09 TL. And the boat kind of justifies that. It's about the size of a lug nut So that's what I did. Torqued it down, no issues there. 6 to 8 pounds for the can sprocket. That's only if you're changing the seal. If you don't worry about it. All right. Okay. Now, yeah, I'm not going to go any further because there's a lot of details that I'm not showing you right now. Just look for some older model cars that has the same engine just size. Specifically, like I said, the TL that I did pretty much have the same instructions as installing this car. So, all right, pretty much the same. Not exactly the same, but pretty much the same. One thing I did notice, some videos tell you to, or actually in this instruction manual tells you to use. here's the funniest part. It tells you to use one of the bracket bolt. You see that? Let's see if I can focus there. You see that stick there? That is to crank the timing belt tensioner. So basically, you using that shaft right there to release the timing belt tensioner from the belt. Well, that shaft, that screw there, is actually one of these, the battery holder shaft, the battery holder stick. That is what it is. This I remember very specifically because the TL, I had to use that. Now, this is what I can tell you. If you are changing out, well, so the kit comes with the tensioner, a new tensioner. I wouldn't even need that to screw to release the tensioner. That's only if you're reusing the tensioner itself. I'm not using it. Well, what I did, I just loosened the bolt on the tensioner itself, and it pops. So, orientation wise, this is how the tensioner sits, right this. What I did, I removed this bolt, loosened this bolt, and then I removed this bolt. What it will do, it just kind of pops away from the tensioner pulley assembly. So it pops up and it'll be loose altogether. You can actually wiggle it once you remove this top bolt. Then you can just remove this. Oh, here's the other thing. The oil pressure sensor sits right over in front of this bolt. So you're going to have to use an open box key to open this one, to loosen this one. Torque specs. It's 9 pounds on the instruction. Well, you can't be able to torque this unless you move this sensor out of the way. Now, you're going to have to hand tighten that. Please do not break the bolt. See how much tension it is, or if you can be able to get it, get the socket in without removing the sensor, good for you. But if not, you're going to have to tighten this by hand. But like I said, don't muscle that bolt, because it's only a 10 mil bolt. It's only 9 pounds, 9 foot-pounds. So if I can find where the tension is, right there, number 16, 9 foot-pounds. What I did, I torqued the top bolt first, and then I would use my hand strength and see if it, see how much force I have to move a little bit of that bolt. So as soon as I feel movement on that top bolt that I torqued, I would try to resemble that force by hand to the one I couldn't be able to torque, if you know what I'm talking about. Like I said, don't bear strength on that bolt. If not, you break it, you're gonna run into a lot of whole hosts of other issues with it. Okay. Now on this, the crank pulley bolt, that bolt right above number 4 there. It says 47 pounds plus 60 degrees. Well, guess what? I am not going for 60 degrees. I'm going to torque it down to 180. I believe the service manual or somewhere, I mentioned in another video that it torques down to 181. And that's what I'm going to go by, because if I remember right, I saw it in the manual. I think it was a TL. Now, these bolts are pretty much the same from one year to another. It's about the same size. Nothing changes with this bolt. That's what's good about Honda. They use the same. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So they reuse this design from one car to another, especially on a V6. I believe 4-cylinder engines also. But like I said, one of the manuals, I don't remember what it was, but it was 181. I torqued it down 181 and call it a day. It wouldn't go anywhere, of course. Of course, the manual does say to put some oil, fresh oil on the threads and in between the bolt and the washer, bolt head and the washer, to give some lubrication when you're torquing it down, so it won't cause any friction when you're torquing it. All right, that's it. I don't know if there's any videos that tells you once you put the belt in, put the tensioner. Now, on the tensioner, usually there's a pin that holds the plunger back. I think a lot of guys, well, if you look at a lot of videos, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I don't pull that pin yet from the plunger, but I do install everything in place, torqued everything down, and I would turn the crankshaft two revolutions on the crankshaft to bring it back to bring it back to top dead center, and then I would recheck the timing mark, making sure that everything is lined up and in place as it should be. Like I said, plenty of YouTube videos out there that you can look at, and that is it. Of course, I'm gonna put the covers back in. First thing is the engine mount. Well, the first piece of the engine mount anyways. And of course, this is the second one. This goes through, these two goes right there, goes through the their first piece of the engine mount, which is right here. Love to show you, but I've already made 30 minutes of this video. Like I said, if I go into detail, it's going to go a lot longer than that. And of course, this bolt goes through the engine mount absorber right here, or whatever you call it here. This is the ground wire. Well, the ground wire goes on that engine mount, piece of engine mount, and left the screw. Now, when you're taking all the bolts out, if you can put it back to where it is, that way you won't forget. Okay. Like I said, the timing belt cover was a little tricky because I have to use long, short sockets to get around, to work around the wiring harness and of course the AC line here. But that's pretty much common sense, how to find the bolts and try to remove it. That was my difficulty. The hardest part was getting the seal. But like I said, if it's not leaking, don't change it. Some guys would recommend that too. If not, it will probably take you about another 1 or 2 hours if you work on it. But like I say, if you don't have the special tool, you're gonna run into a surprise putting it back in or even taking it out. And that was the special tool I was showing you. It has all the kits I need in there, but even with the kit, I had to struggle to remove the crank seal, at least anyways. And even installing it, I was having a tough time getting the seal in straight. It was kind of cockeyed, and I had to press it in to where it straightens out. It was a little tricky, but it came out fine. Everything works. The reason why I'm changing the seal is because I didn't, well, this car is gonna have to last another 100,000 miles before changing the timing belt again, and I didn't want to run the risk of having the seal leaking or within 100,000 miles. So I went ahead and changed it, and plus it's a family car. That's it. Oh, since the harness was in the way, I had to give it some slack, so I removed a couple of bolts that holds this. Well, this whole line of harness goes through the ignition wires. I remove all this. I loosen all this. There's 2 bolts, one here, one here, and then it goes down. I believe there's one right here. I had to remove that just to get some slack on the harness itself. Oh, and also this cover, well, on the 2018 Honda Odyssey here, there's a little cover here to cover one little area. Now this cover actually attaches to the engine mount. You can see there. I forgot to tell you that that right there bolts on to this little guy right here. So basically the engine mount goes in like this. As far as the orientation goes, it goes like so, and of course the two big holes there are for the second piece of the engine mount. But that hole right there is actually holding down this harness, and you can see that little hole there. You're gonna have to need one of that magnetic socket. I have this. Oh, this is very useful, by the way, for tight spots. It has a magnet in there, so in case you're afraid it might drop or something, it'll hold the bolt while you're putting it in. Of course, I need number 10. I have to put this in right now. And of course, I went to the store. This is a DeWalt. Not advertising for anybody, but I bought this from Home Depot. And it's a quick lock. I don't know what they call it, quick snap, quick lock, whatever it is. So to be able to get into that hole and without dropping the bolt, I have this magnetic socket, put it in there, and it holds there, and I'll just kind of go right underneath it. All right, okay. Some tricky things. I think that's it. Instruction manual would tell you everything else. Water pump. I wonder if the water pump comes with it. But anyways, 8 pounds on the water pump. If it doesn't tell you or give you any instructions in the manual, it's definitely 8 pounds. 5 bolts altogether, just to let you know. And the orientation, oh, I got lost with the orientation on this for a moment. Orientation of the water pump is like so. So basically the 2 big bolts there go faces up, just to give you proof. Let's see here, see if I can get a video of the water pump. Right there. So next to the timing belt eyelid pulley, the orange pulley there, there's a big hole to the left. That is it. Anyways, just to give you an idea how many bolts that hold the water pump itself. While installing, there's only 5. 1 here, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now of course, that's only 5 to hold the water pump while you're installing the timing belt. But the motor mount itself holds 3 more big bolts right here, and it presses against the water pump and it holds the water pump in place. All right, okay, and of course this hole right here is actually a dowel pin to get your water pump lined up with the engine. There's actually two, I think. There's one on the bottom right there. So here's the one on the bottom. So once you seat it in place, make sure the gas is in place. Once it seats in on the two dowel pins, you can put all 5 bolts in. No issues. Torque it down. I don't know if there's a sequence, if there's a sequence or not, I'm not sure, but I'll do that from the outside, from the inside first, and then it goes the outside. All right, I think that is it. One other thing before I go, I let you guys go. There is no drain cock for the coolant. Usually there's one at the radiator. I couldn't find any, and I don't think they have any. But if you do, please comment in my video and tell me where it sits at, because for the life of me I couldn't find it. So it was full of coolant in the engine radiator, so when I remove the water pump, it just splashes all over. Make sure you have a bucket underneath to catch on any coolant there. Okay, I think that's it. But this is just a quick preview of a 2018 Odyssey. There wasn't any videos out there for this, so I just want to give you a quick tip on how it looks like. But like I said, if I go into detail step by step, it'll take about an hour or two, and I just don't have that kind of time. Sorry, this is not my day job. This is my side gig, side hustle. Making some extra on the weekends. But that is it. Okay, well, good luck, guys. If you do have any questions, I'll make sure I'll answer it if I remember later down the road. But this is a good video for me to keep track of 100,000 miles later when my sister bring this van back for me to change it again. So, all right. Well, good luck, guys. That's all I have. Like I said, oil pressure sensor. There's a wire that goes on top. Oh, actually, it's right here. You see it right there. That wraps around the timing belt cover on the rear timing belt cover. It wraps around that little groove I showed you from the beginning of the video, and it plugs into the oil pressure sensor right there. All right, and that's it. I have nothing more to say, and oh my gosh, it's 45 minutes into the video, and that's just a skim of what I need to explain. Like I said, if I go into detail step by step, this will take forever. It will probably be 2-3 hours, probably. Yeah, I don't have that kind of time. Sorry for the long video, but I just want to give a shout out to any 2018 Odysseys out there. And of course, it does apply to other year models, but this is the only one I know. So, good luck, guys. Bye now. Oh, one other thing. Torque specs. Oh, shoot. If I remember right. Oh, I gotta look into the torque specs again. If I remember right, it was 33 pounds. I will have to look into that again. Oh my gosh. Well, sorry guys, you're gonna have to look into probably the 09 Acura TL that I mentioned. But if I go into the computer and show you right now, it's gonna take another 15 minutes before I can dig up the pro torque specs. But somebody will have some torque specs out there for you. Sorry about that. I'm just doing this on the fly, and I don't have all the torque specs in hand. So, but yeah, plenty of videos out there that you can find. Okay. Good luck, guys. Bye. Hey guys, I just want to add this second clip. Hopefully I can stitch this video along with the first one I made. I looked up on the torque specs. Like I said, the two-piece motor mount. This first piece that goes into the engine, the 3 bolts that I mentioned. Well, there's one in here, one here, and of course one on the bottom right there. I don't know if you see it right there. That's torqued to 33 foot-pounds on this motor mount. Now the one that goes on top, this one goes in to the top 2 there. These 2 bolts down to 40, and this one goes into the other part of the motor mount, cushioning, whatever it is, shocks, whatever. This is 47. So hopefully I can stitch this video. If I can't, it's gonna be a part 2 of my YouTube video, in case one of you guys need to know. Like I said, it's pretty much the same design as the 09 Acura TL that I told you about. So that's what I'm gonna talk it down to. 33 for this, 40 for these 2, and then of course 47 for this. And the bolt size is very big. It's big enough to where it justifies the torque specs. So that's one thing I kind of need to confirm when I look at the bolt size, making sure that it is. Now, if I were to say this is 100 pounds, no, definitely not. It's not big enough for 100 pounds. I have to match it up with the lug nut, but this is a lot smaller than the wheel lugs anyway. So, all right, that's just an example. But like I said, usually I would gauge and look at the bolt size before I torque it down. All right, since I don't have a manual for the 2018, but it does match the same engine design as the 09 TL. So okay, and that is it. Again, it even says the Odyssey, the same engine design. It dates back to 2005 Odyssey. So look up on some YouTube videos back to 2005. You might be able to find some kit or some torque specs from there. All right, just want to give you that. Goodbye again. Hello fellas, this is my 3rd clip. Hopefully I can be able to stitch all this video together. But anyways, just want to give you another tip to be able to replace, to be able to remove and reinstall the drive belt or the serpentine belt. You will need this motor mount out of the way to be able to get to the tensioner, and plus there's no room to be able to crank with a tool. But removing this motor mount will give you this much space to move the crank, to be able to get the tool in there. You will definitely need that motor mount out. Just to give you a torque spec, these are 40s, and this one is 47. Now, I didn't have any jack to support the engine. It's actually stable. It doesn't drop or anything. So once you remove these, it will stay pretty much where it's supposed to be. Also, this is a ground cable. That's a 10mm bolt. That's, I believe it was either 8 or 9 foot-pounds. All you have to do is just remove that, get it out of the way. But that's it. I just want to add that onto the clip. I was struggling to get the serpentine tool or the wrench. Let's see if I have it here. I do not. Right here. So this is the serpentine tool. It's got a long handle to it, but this is the only way is to get that motor mount out of the way so I can be able to crank on it to loosen the belt. to remove the belt and also to reinstall. So just to give you guys a tip on that. All right, and that was it. Also, since I changed the timing belt, water pump, I normally change the thermostat also. This is where the thermostat here sits. It's kind of a BS engineering to have the thermostat where it is, because all this is in a way, you're gonna need an elbow to be able to get to the back bolt there. There's 3 of them. 2 hoses that goes into it, this one and that one. And the orientation of the thermostat sits like so. So you can see there 2 bolts, 3 bolts, 1 here, 2 here, and of course the one on the bottom. And it orientates like so. All right, or like so. Okay, just to give you an idea. Now it's a tight spot, but you can be able to get into it with a long socket. But like I said, the one in the back, you're gonna need an elbow to be able to torque it back in. It's I think the torque spec is like 8.8 or 8.7 or something like that. I went ahead and just do 9 foot-pounds on it. A little bit more wouldn't hurt. Okay, and that is it. I got everything back in, timing belt change, and this job is done for now. I did buy a kit for the valve cover gasket, but since it's not leaking and I don't have time to change it now, I'll just have to do it on the next go around. Plus this is a family's car, so oh, this is the van. Actually, I made 3 long videos for the rear cat converter replacement. This is the one I mentioned about the P0420. It failed on the injectors and yada yada. Found out it fouled the plugs. A whole host of issues, but the cat converter was the last thing we had to change on this. All right, and of course my sister has 100,000 miles on this, and it was due for a timing belt change. Oh, which reminds me, there's a little sticker for the next timing belt change. I need to put that on there. Okay, I guess I'll just put it on this little fuse box cover. All right, and that is it. And of course there's vibration on the brakes. I'm guessing it's the warpage on the disc brake. I'm just gonna take the disc out and have it resurfaced anyway. And of course, looks like the brake fluid is a little dark there. I'm probably gonna do a little flush for her too. All right, and that's it. And that concludes my timing belt, water pump. Of course, it goes along with it, and of course the thermostat. And good luck. Hope this helps for a lot of you guys. 2018 Honda Odyssey. Bye now.